Hello guys, and welcome back to another one with us, the Review Bros. And today we're going to be taking a look at a completely new one to us, and it's called REV XXL, and it's promising pump, focus, energy, which coincidentally is the exact three things that we look for in every pre-workout review. So we'll be covering the taste, price, label effects. Will it be your next pre? And if you are new to the channel, please do hit the like button, hit the sub button, tick the bell icon, because we try and release about 3 reviews a week. But today, let's get into this one. Okay, first segment, taste and mixability, and it comes in sour green apple, blue raspberry grape, and the one we've got for today's review, sour watermelon. So, obviously used it a couple of times before, but for the sake of today, let's see how it goes on camera. So, mixability, actually, I would say above average. I'm not sure if that's coming through on camera, if it looks quite bad. Never normally does it justice on this camera, I find. But yeah, mixability is definitely better than your average. But let's see how it tastes. It is very strong tasting. That's the first thing I noticed. I mean, I could have used more water, but it's not the biggest serving amount in the world. 16 grams, respectable, very strong tasting. It's what it says on the tin, I can't lie. It's sour watermelon. There's not really any nastiness to it. I'm getting nothing coming through on the back end that's ruining the flavour. Obviously, you're very much aware it's a pre-workout still, do not get me wrong. But there is no nastiness attached to it, which I'm quite surprised by because there are a fair few bits in the label. I have one more sip and then I'll give you a score. It definitely goes more down the candy route, obviously with it being sour. So I think that's why I like it better than I typically would like a watermelon. I much prefer the candy style one. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a solid 8 out of 10. Do you know what? Sod it. 8.5 out of 10. I think I like it even more when I have it with more water generally, so I'm going to give it the benefit of doubt on that. 8.5 out of 10. So you're not going to struggle with the flavour, or at least I didn't. Other flavours sound like they'll be nice as well, so good start to review. Let's move into price. So, price time. How much will you be paying to rev up your workout? Well, you head over to the official website, revxxl.com, where you'll find this 20 serving tub on there for $49.99 or $2.49 per the serving. When you convert that over into pounds, it comes to £39.88 for the tub or £1.99 per the serving. Now, you may or may not know, but we do have a consistent price scale on the channel that measures how expensive pre-workouts are, where a 5 out of 10 is considered to be a bang average price point. Now, this comes in at a 3.5 out of 10, so it is more expensive than your typical pre-workout on the market, that has to be said. However, if we do get a discount code, obviously we'll pop it in the comments, we'll pin it down below, and that will obviously help the price point. But as it is, off the website, it is more expensive than your typically priced pre-workout. So, fingers crossed, let's see how it comes together in the label and the effects. Is it ultimately going to be worth it? So what exactly are we getting for that money? Let's get into the label. So we've got a 16 gram serving amount, which is probably slightly above average on today's pre-workout market, but that doesn't mean everything. It's just worth noting. So then anyway, we've got citrulline malate 2:1 ratio at 6 grams. So that's very nice. We're getting 4 grams of L-citrulline, which is decent enough. You know, a lot of people like to see 6 grams of pure L-citrulline as a minimum, but the truth of the matter is 4 grams will still get the job done. It's still efficacious enough to work. It's going to increase nitric oxide production within the body, increasing blood flow, widening those veins, delivering the nutrients to the muscle, everything we want. It's a staple pump ingredient, so we'll take it, considering this isn't necessarily going fully down the pump route, this pre-workout. I'm sure you can glean that from looking at it. It's, well, at least strikes me as more of a stim kind of pre-workout. But anyway, let's move down. So we've got beta-alanine at 3.5 grams. Really nice dose. Obviously, we look for a minimum of 3.2, so thumbs up here. That's an amino acid that gives that itchy, tingly sensation when it kicks in, but it also helps with endurance when it builds up in your system and you reach that saturation point. So we personally like to see it in pre's, generally speaking. Then we've got L-tyrosine at 2 grams, which is a really nice dose, double what you would typically see. It's an amino acid, again, that's responsible for helping your focus and mood, and it's obviously going to pair up with some of the other bits and pieces that we'll move on to right now. Then we've got taurine at another nice dose of 2 grams, again, about double what you would typically see. Another jack of all trades amino acid in that it helps with your hydration, pumps, mental cognitive function and energy production within the body. Then we've got alpha GPC, 50%, 600 milligrams, very nice. We're going to yield 300 milligrams of actual choline, so it's one of our favourite choline donors. It's going to help with your focus, your athletic performance in the gym ultimately. So always like to see that. Then we've got caffeine anhydrous at 350 milligrams, which is a nice dose. A couple of energy drinks worth of energy there. It's probably bang on average as what you typically see as a caffeine dose in pre-workouts these days, about the 350 mark. So you'll definitely feel it. It's obviously the main stimulant that's going to wake you up and get you moving. Then we've got REV ATP, 150 milligrams, very nice dose there. That's it's in the realms of what creatine would do in that it helps with your power, your athletic performance, your endurance in the gym. So it's going to go down that route, and it has a faster acting turnaround, because obviously with creatine you've got to build it up in your system. This is more of an immediate benefit type ingredient, so I do like it for that. Obviously ATP, adenosine triphosphate, it's the energy within your muscle, so power, performance obviously. Then we move down to N-phenylethyl dimethylamine, 100 milligrams, aka REV XXL. A nice dose, it's a relatively modest dose. We've seen up to 300, 400, 500 milligrams, even perhaps more than that even. So definitely on the lower end, however, it's a nice dose. I think it will come together nicely because there's other bits and pieces that will complement it in here. And more doesn't always mean better. There are sweet spots to things in life. So respectable dose. It's another stimulant. It's going to pair up with the caffeine. It's going to help alongside it to increase your focus, your drive and your energy levels. Then we have theobromine at 100 milligrams again. Perhaps again on the lower end of what you would typically see. We've seen 200, 300, 400 milligrams of theobromine and above. Again, more modest here, but like I say, not always a bad thing. There isn't really a clinical dose when it concerns stimulants, is there? Not so much like it with pump ingredients and things like that. So it's more down to the company's discretion as to what they want to do with it, basically. But theobromine is a cousin to caffeine. It's another very mild stimulant. It's a smooth muscle relaxant, so it does help with blood flow, pumps. It's also been shown to help with energy levels, your mood. It's quite multifaceted. So we like to see it, and it's in here, so we'll take it. Then we've got S7 at 50 milligrams, which is the dose you would typically see. It's a blend of 7 different ingredients. All have been shown to work together to help to increase nitric oxide in the body up to 230%, I believe. However, take that with a pinch of salt. Obviously, it's going to differ in any scenario. That's just the studies that are backing up the ingredient. But nonetheless, it has been shown to help increase blood flow, so it will pair up with the L-citrulline to bring about more pumps. Then we have estrogen at 25 milligrams. You normally would typically see about 50 milligrams. 25, however, is still going to get things moving in terms of helping with the digestion and the uptake and the utilization of all the ingredients in this label. Then we move down to huperzine A, 1%, 25 milligrams. So that's going to be 250 micrograms. And that's dubbed the learning chemical. So it's going to help with your memory, focus, concentration in the gym, and pair up with the other nootropics that I've already mentioned. Then we wrap off with another digestive aid. Only just noticed this, BioPerine, 25 milligrams. That is a very high dose for that. And now that I come to think of it, that could explain why towards the bottom of the pre-workout in the taste, it was a little bit spicy. Not enough to really affect the flavour, but it was noticeable now in hindsight. 25 milligrams, like 5 times the normal dose. You normally only see about 5 milligrams, maybe 10 of this ingredient. So they're really putting their eggs in the basket of utilization of the product. They really want to make sure they get all these ingredients in you and working to the best of their ability, and we're a big fan of that. So overall, I would say it's quite a unique label. I do generally like it. There's not really any holes in it. It's yeah, it looks interesting. So let's see how it comes together in the gym. So, effects time of REV XXL pre-workout. What did we think of it in the several times we've used it? And today was leg day, so it did have its work cut out for it. But let's start off at the very beginning like we normally do with that beta-alanine, because it's generally the first thing you feel. So it kicks in very strong on this one. I would say, honestly, an 8 out of 10 on the tingle scale. So if you like that, great. If you don't like the tingly feeling, you might want to look elsewhere. So it's very much on the strong side, which what comes off the back of that is a strong sense of urgency. And not just because of the beta-alanine, but also because that 350 milligrams of caffeine all in one hit hits you very shortly after. So I would say 10-15 minutes you feel the beta-alanine, 5-10 minutes after that, you feel the caffeine. You feel very alert, you feel ready to get cracking. So one of the strong suits of this pre-workout that I would think back on if I'm thinking about this, the last time I used it, is that sense of urgency. That is a standout feature, I would say. It had me looking and feeling a bit like that pig on the side of the tub there, if that's focusing. Just very much ready to get cracking. So half an hour after drinking it, firing all cylinders, you're pretty much good to go. From an energy standpoint, let's cover that first. I would say pretty damn strong. I would say it feels like a very strong daily driver, or what you could get away with as a daily driver, at least for me personally. So the energy lasted a good 2, pushing 3 hours. So I do think the nootropics help keep it in your system and keep you on the ball. But there's no peaks, troughs, jitters, crash, come down, nothing nasty attached to it. And again, I think that's partly because the nootropics are keeping you there with a bit of a backbone, so you don't feel like you've dropped off at the end of your workout. So I had no issues there, even on the longer leg or back days at the gym. So absolutely sufficient. Moving on to the focus, potently strong as well, at least as far as daily drivers go. Obviously, we're not getting into the realms of anything illicit here. You know, granted, it has got a bit of a reagerensis in it, but that's quite moderate as things go these days. The focus was good. It was a very serious, switched on the ball, productive style focus. It wasn't an illicit, floaty, euphoric focus. It wasn't necessarily a super happy feeling pre-workout. It was quite a serious, locked in, on the ball, let's train seriously type pre-workout, and I like that. So yeah, focus gets a thumbs up again. Very good focus. Like I say, I think all those nootropics come together with the caffeine and make a formidable force. Now, wrapping off with the last element we look at, and the last thing they're claiming on here, is the pumps. And I would say they were serviceable. I wouldn't say they were ridiculous. I wouldn't say they were skin splitting or anything crazy, but I definitely noticed that I got more pump than normal taking this pre-workout. Obviously, you've got the citrulline, you've got the S7, you've got the other bits and pieces that tie into the pump element, but I don't think you'd necessarily buy this for the pumps. I personally, looking at it, would buy it more for the stim and the focus. But it's nice that we're getting some pumps there, that's the way I see it. So pumps, I would say, slightly above average, but nothing to write home about. For me, the standout points, like I say, when I think back in hindsight, is the sense of urgency, the energy, and the serious level of focus it puts you in, that sort of mindset. And from a negative standpoint, I didn't get any. I didn't get any crushed appetite. It didn't affect my sleep. Obviously, I still wouldn't risk taking it too close to bedtime because ultimately stimulants do interfere with your sleep. That's just factual. So yeah, don't take it within maybe like a 6-hour window of bedtime. But yeah, other than that, guys, no nastiness attached to it, no nausea, no, like I say, no crash, nothing bad come off the back of it. It's, I was pleasantly surprised by this pre-workout, I will say, and if anything, I would say it actually comes together and feels even a little bit better than the label might suggest. Not to say the label's bad by any stretch. My only gripe with it, whilst it's a 3.5 out of 10 on the price scale, aka priced relatively higher than a typical pre-workout on the market, I would want to be paying probably about a 5 out of 10. I would want to, I don't know, maybe a 4 to 4.5 out of 10 if I'm nitpicking, because it is a better than average pre-workout, so you don't mind paying a bit more than the average price on the market. But at the same time, it doesn't scream to me that it's a super expensive formula, because there's no, there's very limited registered or patented ingredients in here. I think at a glance maybe S7 might be the only one, or an estrogen, and perhaps bioperine, but they're all relatively cheap ingredients anyway as they go. Like I say, I just want to see it a little bit cheaper, but that could easily be rectified if we can get a discount code. But as it is, regardless of, I would say definitely shortlist it if you're in the market for a pre-workout like I've described, because it definitely does tick those boxes. I got nothing negative to say about it. Really pleasantly surprised by this one. Do check it out if it sounds right for you. Let me know your thoughts down below. You know, I'd be surprised if you have used it, because they're quite an underground, well, not necessarily underground, but just niche kind of brand that aren't, they're not mainstream, are they? That's what I'm trying to say. So, but if you have used it, let me know down below what you thought. What do you think in general of this pre-workout based on what I've said? What else do you want to see us review on the channel? Let us know down below and we'll try and get our hands on it. And yeah, guys, I think that does cover everything. And as always, stay stimmed. And you will on this one.